I am about to ask you to do something physical right now in your living room. It will take 10 seconds. And the result, according to a study of 2,002 adults published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, may predict whether you are still alive 6 years from today. People who scored at the bottom of this 10-second test were 4 times more likely to be dead within the follow-up period than people who scored at the top. 4 times. The test requires no equipment, no doctor, no appointment. Just you, the floor, and the next 10 seconds of your life. Tonight, you are going to take this test, score yourself, and learn exactly what your number means. I am Dr. Ember, and I have spent years studying senior health research as a health educator and research presenter. Not as your physician, not as your physical therapist, but as the person who reads the medical journals carefully so you do not have to. What I am about to share with you tonight comes from 2 peer-reviewed publications in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, including a 2014 study of 2,002 adults and a 2025 follow-up confirming the findings with even more participants. The third thing I share with you is going to surprise you the most. What I reveal at the 14-minute mark of this video has the power to add years to your life. Stay with me until the very end because the most important number from this entire body of research is saved for last. Before I show you the test, let me show you what it is actually measuring inside your body. Picture a folding chair. When the chair is new, the hinges open and close in a smooth, effortless motion. After decades of use, the hinges begin to rust. The chair still works, but the unfolding is no longer smooth. There is a catch, a wobble, a moment where the chair almost folds the wrong way. Your body, after 60, has many hinges. Your hips, your knees, your ankles, your shoulders, your spine. And inside those hinges, the strength, the flexibility, the balance, and the muscle mass that keep them working together as a single coordinated system. The floor test, what researchers call the sitting-rising test, is the single most elegant integrated measure of all of those systems at once. It does not just measure leg strength. It does not just measure flexibility. It measures how all of your body's hinges work together in a real-world demand. Now think of your body as a smartphone battery. At full charge, you sit and stand effortlessly. You do not even think about it. As the battery weakens, you start needing a wall, a hand, a piece of furniture to lean on. By the time you cannot stand up from the floor without help, your battery is below 20%. And the research tells us that below 20%, the alarm starts ringing. Here is what I need you to understand, and I am going to say it plainly because nobody else has said it to you this way. The common belief in our culture is that falls cause death in seniors. The published research tells us something more precise. Falls do not cause death. The inability to get up from the floor causes death. Falls just expose it. A senior who falls and can stand back up has very different outcomes from a senior who falls and cannot. The floor test tonight in your own living room tells you which one you are. Stay with me because there is a modified version of this test for anyone who cannot safely get down on the floor that I am going to teach you in just a few minutes. Before we go further, I want to say something to anyone listening tonight who has not been on the floor in years. Who knows the answer to this test before even attempting it? You are not too late. The research is unambiguous on this point. Every single point you can raise your score by through targeted practice lowers your mortality risk by 21%. 21% per point. Stay with me because at the 15-minute mark, I am going to share a finding from this research that I have not been able to stop thinking about since I read it. Now let me teach you the test. Here is exactly how it works. Find a clear, soft, safe surface. A carpeted living room floor is ideal. If you have any balance concerns, have a family member stand nearby. You begin standing up. Then, without using any support, sit down on the floor in a cross-legged position. Then, without using any support, stand back up. That is the entire test. You start with 10 points. Every time you use a hand on the floor, you deduct 1 point. Every time you use a knee on the floor, you deduct 1 point. Every time you use a side of your leg, you deduct 1 point. Every time you use a piece of furniture, the wall, or another person, you deduct 1 point. If you wobble dangerously, deduct half a point. Your final score is between 0 and 10. Pause this video right now. Take the test. Write down your score on a piece of paper. I will wait. Welcome back. Whatever score you wrote down is the most important number in your living room tonight. Let us go through the 5 things the research tells us, and I want you to listen carefully because every single point comes with something specific you can do this week. The first thing the research tells us is what your score actually measures. The 2014 Brazilian study, led by Dr. Leonardo Barreto de Brito, was the first to confirm what physical therapists had long suspected. The sitting rising test is not measuring one fitness component. It is measuring 6 at once. Leg strength, hip flexibility, ankle mobility, core strength, balance, and body composition, meaning the ratio of muscle to fat. Almost no other 10-second test in all of medicine captures so many systems simultaneously. That is why it predicts mortality so powerfully. It is essentially a tiny integrated stress test for your entire neuromuscular reserve. Your action item here is simple. Take the score you just wrote down and put it on a sticky note on your refrigerator. Date it. That is your baseline. The second thing the research tells us is the most powerful number in the entire study. Every single point you can raise your score by lowers your all-cause mortality risk by 21% per point. So a senior who improves from a score of 4 to a score of 6 has just lowered their mortality risk by approximately 42%. The 2025 follow-up study with even more participants confirmed this dose-response relationship. The score is not destiny. The score is a measurement. And measurements can be moved with the right work. Your action item is precise. Retest yourself on the first day of every month. Mark it on your phone calendar right now. The first of every month. New score, date it, watch it move. The third thing the research tells us is the one I promised would surprise you. Going back to the smartphone battery metaphor. The score does not just predict death from heart disease or stroke or cancer. It predicts death from anything. The 2025 study found that the death rate over the follow-up period was 3.7% for adults who scored a perfect 10. It tripled to 11.1% at a score of 8. And it climbed to 42.1% at the very lowest scores, 42%. Almost half of the people at the bottom were gone from the same 10-second test you just took. Your action item is direct. If you scored 6 or below, start the simple 8-week protocol I am about to teach you. If you scored 7 or 8, maintain it. If you scored 9 or 10, congratulations, and keep your maintenance routine going. I want to interrupt myself for a moment because what comes next is the most important section of this video. If anything I have said so far has resonated with you, please do me one small favor. Type your score in the comments below, just your number 0 through 10. It tells the algorithm to show this video to other seniors who need to take this test. I read every comment. The fourth thing the research tells us is what to do if you cannot safely get on the floor in the first place. This is the question I get most often, and it deserves a clear answer. Some seniors, due to balance issues, joint replacements, or other valid medical reasons, should not be attempting a full sitting rising test without supervision. For you, there is a modified version. It is called the chair rise test. Find a sturdy chair without arms. Cross your arms in front of your chest. Without using your hands or arms, stand up from the chair, then sit back down. Repeat as many times as you can in 30 seconds. Healthy adults over 60 should be able to complete at least 12 repetitions in 30 seconds. Below 10 is a red flag worth bringing to your doctor. The research shows this modified test predicts the same underlying neuromuscular reserve as the full floor test. 12 repetitions, 30 seconds, that is your modified benchmark. The fifth thing the research tells us is the one I want you to remember when everything else fades. The 8-week protocol that has been shown to raise the sitting rising score by an average of 2 points in adults over 60. 2 points. 42% lower mortality risk from 8 weeks of work. Here is exactly what to do. Every morning before coffee, perform 5 chair rises without using your hands. 5. The same chair you might use for the modified test. Then 3 times per week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, do 5 minutes of hip and ankle mobility exercises. Sit on the edge of a chair, bring one ankle up onto the opposite knee in a figure 4 position. Hold for 30 seconds, switch sides. Repeat 3 times per side. Then stand and do 10 slow heel raises, lifting your body up onto the balls of your feet, then back down. Slowly 5 chair rises every morning. 5 minutes of mobility 3 times a week. That is the entire protocol. 8 weeks. Retest. Watch the number move. Now I want to bring you to the part of the video I have been promising you. When I was reading through the 2014 Brazilian study and the 2025 follow-up, the moment that stayed with me, the moment I have been carrying as I wrote this script, was the comparison of the two extremes. The adults who scored a perfect 10 on the test had a death rate of 3.7% over the follow-up period. The adults who scored 0, who needed both hands, both knees, and still could not get up cleanly, had a death rate of 42.1%. Let those two numbers sit beside each other for a moment. 3.7 versus 42.1. Same age, same country, same study, different floor test score. And what truly moved me when I read that data was the realization that the test does not require a doctor. It does not require an insurance card. It does not require a copay. It does not require an appointment. Every senior on earth in any country at any income level can take this 10-second test in their own living room tonight. That single fact captures everything that is wrong with how we have failed our seniors on fitness assessment, and everything that becomes possible the moment one person in one living room takes 10 seconds to find out where they stand. So let me say this plainly, and I want you to hold on to it. Your body keeps very few real secrets from you. Aging is not the same as breaking. The number you wrote down on that piece of paper is not a verdict. It is a starting line. Let me recap the 5 points I want you to take from this video. 1. The sitting rising test measures 6 fitness systems at once. Put your score on the refrigerator tonight. 2. Every 1 point improvement lowers your mortality risk by 21%. Retest on the 1st of every month. 3. The death rate climbs from 3.7% at score 10 to 42.1% at the lowest scores. Score 6 or below means it is time to start the protocol. 4. The modified chair rise test is for anyone who cannot safely floor test. 12 repetitions in 30 seconds is your benchmark. 5. The 8-week protocol. 5 chair rises every morning. 5 minutes of hip and ankle mobility 3 times a week. Retest in 8 weeks. Now I want to ask you to do just one thing. Just one. Do not try to do all 5. Tomorrow morning before coffee, before you even sit down at the kitchen table, do 5 chair rises from a sturdy chair without using your hands. 5. That is the entire action. Then put a small check mark on your calendar. Do the same thing the next morning and the next for 30 days. just 5 chair rises before coffee, then come back and retake the floor test. The change you will feel will surprise you. If this video has helped you tonight, please do 3 small things for me. First, leave a comment with your score from the floor test, just the number. It helps the algorithm find other seniors who need to take this test. Second, share this video with one person you love who is over 60. Just one. A parent, a spouse, a sibling, a friend. Tell them to take the 10-second test in their living room. Third, please subscribe to this channel because next week I am going to cover the daily symptom that almost every senior dismisses as dry skin, but a Johns Hopkins study of nearly 17,000 patients found is associated with a nearly 6-fold higher risk of hidden cancer. The information in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice from your physician. Please do not perform any new physical test without considering your own balance, joint health, and medical history. If you have significant balance issues, recent joint replacement, severe arthritis, or any other medical concern, please consult your physician before attempting any version of this test. The research findings shared come from peer-reviewed published studies, and the citations are linked in the description below this video. If you are experiencing severe or worsening symptoms, please contact your doctor or seek medical care promptly. Your health is unique to you, and so are the right decisions for it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.